Hey, good morning. Today, I just want to make a short video on the different asset classes in commercial real estate. I know if you're just starting out, or maybe you're seasoned, but you're wanting to get familiar with other asset classes. I know it can be a little overwhelming when you get into commercial real estate, and a lot of people just think it's strip centers or skyscraper. There's really so many different types that it can be overwhelming when you're just getting into it without knowing exactly what you want to specialize in. And again, maybe you already specialize in one asset class, but you want to learn uh, others or a different type. So we're just going to go over the different kinds. I started a couple that I'm in. We try not to generalize too much. It's good to get a good understanding of all of everything, so you can be educated. But when you specialize in one thing, it'll help you grow more business. It's more efficient, and it's hard to specialize and be a master of everything, right? So for me, it's multifamily, mid-size, and even more specific, they're small to mid-size. I say 10 to 70 units. That's even a pretty broad range, but minimum size for a lot of the investors that I look for is 16 units. They like C-class with a value add component, just so that they can get in there, renovate, do a cash out refinance. Usually at 16 units, that you can build a little more economies of scale, opposed to just having a duplex where if you lose one tenant, that's 50% of your income, right? Opposed to 100 unit building, if you lose 10 tenants, you're still 90% full, right? So that's just one little specialty. Another one that falls under, it's a different asset class. I still consider it multifamily, but it is mobile home parks, mobile home communities. They have historically traded at a higher cap rate. Right now it's almost like an apartment building in 2016 to 2020. It's just the cap rates have continued to compress. Now we're here in 2021, and I never thought I'd see it in that space, but I guess with the affordable housing having such a high demand, a lot of mobile home parks, you just own the land, so you don't have a lot of repairs and maintenance on the homes. The tenants all own their own home, and they just pay you on the lot rent. So it is a safer, recession-resistant asset class, and I think that's why a lot of money has been pouring in there. But those are the two that I specifically specialize in. But again, I try to get familiar with most across the board, but my day-to-day are in those two. But even in multifamily, you have student housing. These are our apartment buildings near campuses, obviously, right? They don't have to be on campus. A lot of times the school will own those buildings, but just on the outskirts or close to campus, you'll have private owners that can rent these apartment building rooms by the room. So if you have a 3-bedroom, instead of just charging $1,200 a month for a unit, you're gonna get anywhere from $850 to $1,200 per room, right? So you just went from potentially having a standard apartment at $1,200 a month for the one unit to per bedroom, you double or triple that, right, per unit. So that can be a very lucrative asset class. It is. I don't want to say transient. It's not moving, but there's a lot of in and out, right? Because of the school semesters, people leaving, graduating, coming in. So it takes a special management, but it is a nice asset class. Then we have office. This is suburban office, but these can be medical office buildings. These can be downtown office, suburban. This is considered the suburban office, which is smaller professional offices where you'll have your, dentists, lawyers, accountants, financial advisors, a lot of insurance companies, and they're mostly immune. Those type of tenants are mostly immune to economic slowdown. So office can get hurt, like we saw during pandemic a little bit when there was shutdowns, but there was still people in business. Obviously, insurance companies they didn't slow down or stop. Attorneys, but some of the larger office and companies had to shut down. So that's what some of those office got hurt. But these, again, more immune to the slowdowns. Land leases. This is another one. Land. I mean, the four major food groups, if you will, are retail, industrial, multifamily, and office, right? But then there's the sub asset classes that we're going over, and they branch out into more. And then there's even more than you see here. We'll just briefly, like you got assisted living centers, and different types of even office that we've talked about. A lot of new categories in the space, like the medicinal marijuana dispensaries. I mean, there's so many different, and that falls into single tenant, maybe retail, right? But there's a few others on here, but these are the main ones just to get familiar with. And again, going back to land, these are sometimes, let's say, for example, a hospital. When those are 100-year, 99-year leases, land leases, and if for example, I was working with an owner at a development site, and then the city offered him a 99-year lease to put a parking garage on there. So that's great, steady passive income that he has zero maintenance, zero. He doesn't even have to build. He literally just takes a check from the city for the next 99 years. So that'll be something nice to pass on kids, but there's, those are very lucrative. Storage facilities became really popular. Those have a similar trade, like not necessarily like the mobile home parks, but in the sense of basically owning the land. You have just a metal structure on there, right? Like you've seen in Storage Wars and different series on TV, right? You'll see some of those where people just store their stuff, and hoarders just try to pack it in there, and they don't want to get rid of their stuff, right? So those, and they refer to those fees as a nuisance fee. It's very minimal, $90 to $100 plus. It's not a big fee, monthly fee. So they stay full. People forget about them literally, and they treasure all their junk, where they're happy to pay that. So those have been very popular lately. Just again, knowing that the maintenance, it's a concrete slab with some electricity and just little metal buildings, right? So those have gained a lot of. There's been a lot of velocity in that space. Retail got a little hurt through this pandemic, but as one business goes out, there's new ones coming in, new companies started. But some of the retail's great, like pharmacies. That some are going away, but overall, we're always going to have them. Grocery anchored. You'll see the little strip centers that a lot of people think that is what commercial real estate is, but it could be just a single tenant, like you see a pharmacy, like a CVS or something, right? So we went over multifamily, the hotel and lodging, the hospitality. You'll see it labeled as oftentimes. I put must be currently flagged. These were some requirements from some of our investors. So must be currently flagged. That was just for an investor that was looking for your branded, La Quintas or Ramada's, just certain branded flagged hotels. But, a lot of the opportunity is in the privately owned hospitality space where, it's just been a mom and pop owner. We've seen a lot of conversions into multifamily in that space. And, it's tourist areas here in Daytona is where we're at. And fortunately here, they didn't take as big of a hit as a lot of people across the United States. That was probably the most affected asset class, negatively impacted, across the board. But that's really it. I'm going to do another video on the statistics of these, with the cap rates. There's some tools we use here in this portal that you can check out and send them to your clients. If you have some reports in a market you're working, maybe you're working of Orlando or Palm Beach, and you want to put together a market report, that's a good way to get in front of your clients. Or maybe you're still trying to figure it out and you just want to share with some owners. Maybe you pick an asset class and you just database and send out some recent sale comps, right? What's trading in the market. But we have some other resources, as I said, check them out. We'll go further in the next trainings here on that, but just wanted to give a video I haven't done yet on just the different asset classes. Some people, like I said, don't really realize how many there are just in this commercial real estate. So hope that was helpful. Hope that gave a little better idea of what's out there and what to pursue or perk your interest. See you guys in the next one.